I want to go in like a kind of like a deep dive right now about like how does it really matter, or known as DERM, started. And I'll start from the beginning. So back in March of last year, I was working in New York, and I was making personal development content for myself. So I was posting TikToks, me making my bed in the morning, me starting to journal, meditate, all that fun stuff, you know. And it got to a point where I amassed a little bit of a following, you know, not crazy, but a lot of people.
Respectable.
Exactly. Like 50,000 followers, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. You know, a lot of people have seen me working on myself, and I was like, damn, you know, being the entrepreneur that I am, like I want to create, I want to work for myself. I want to just make things. And I was like, I really love clothing. I really love making an impact. I'm working on myself every single day anyways. Why don't I just combine everything? It's kind of like Ikigai, you know? Like the Ikigai structure, how everything works together. You find what works best for you. We could go into that another time, you know? But I finally found what I love to do. And I was like, yo, I like art. I was like, yo, I like personal development. I was like, all right, yo, let's roll. So I started, and DERM actually started as a brand called The Unknown. I don't know if you know. Do you know this?
I don't know this.
So it started off as a brand called The Unknown, and we had like the Unknown family, okay? And the objective was kind of the same, you know? It was like mental health based. The Unknown family, people's mental health goes unknown, so now we're going to make it known, you know? Now we're going to speak on it. Now we're going to inspire people to work on their mental health and share personal development tips and all that fun stuff. And the issue for me was that building a brand was like so far into my understanding, you know? I had no idea how to bring everything together and have it be all cohesive and all make sense and grow like a community around what I wanted to speak about and promote with my brand. So I took a break on that, and I worked on my art. I worked on my personal development skills. I worked on learning the industry, you know, understanding how brands work themselves. And from there, backtrack one step. So I had an Instagram page. This is how I kind of figured out that I liked art, because I never liked art.
Is that something, how long have you been doing art for?
Less than a year.
Less than a year. Like doing art, have you been creating stuff longer than that?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I started creating stuff, I would say.
What flipped the switch for you?
Yeah, right. So this is what it is. March. So March came, I had this Instagram page. This flipped everything. It was called Does It Really Matter? And it still exists, but like I don't allow anyone to follow it because it's like secure to me. It's like I posted everything on there that I wanted for myself. Does it really matter? Applying it to my art, because I didn't realize that art had no rules, you know? Like I always thought that because I couldn't draw like my friends in high school, that then I'm not an artist. I'm not able. I'm not good enough. I'm not allowed. And then one day I was like speaking to one of my buddies, and I was like, dude, I just realized everybody's creating a different type of art, you know? Whether it's with how they're actually painting, or if they have I picked this up from content creation, you know? I saw everybody had their own thing, and it was an art. It was an art form. So the Does It Really Matter page, I would post like all different types of art, even if it was a scribble, or like, you see how like my art is very messy? It's like graffiti type.
In each flaw there is perfection.
Exactly. You know? And I put it together, and I was like, yo, does it really matter? And I just posted all my art there, and I did it for like 2 weeks. Then my buddy who I was speaking about before, his name is Ike Sokol. Shout out to you, Ike. He was like, he said it as a joke, because we would like at nights, that's when we would start creating. Like in March, we would make art together, because I got into this stuff, and he's always been into it. Like this kid knows how to draw. He's mad creative. He's awesome. This kid, you gotta meet him. I'll introduce you to him. But he was like, yo, as a joke, why don't you just do Does It Really Matter as a brand, you know? And I was like, that could be a good idea. And I was like, nah, I'm already too deep. I'm like learning the unknown. I'm like studying the unknown. I'm getting into it, you know? And I spent so many hours trying to understand like what goes into building a brand for the unknown. And I'm building the mission statements and all of the important aspects and fundamentals of branding. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm going to drop it all and I'm going to work on Does It Really Matter? Because I love art, you know? I wanted to implement that. I had like a yearning to like finally start creating like with my hands and things and like making the best of any type of situation in real life, not just like online where I can like edit it, you know? So like trial and error, the name of the game, you know? So sorry, I lost my thought just now. Oh, Does It Really Matter Instagram? I started the brand Does It Really Matter? Okay? And one night I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I have to go back. So we finished. We finished that conversation. He said, maybe you should do it as a joke. Blew off. 2 weeks go by. I'm still working on the unknown. And then I'm thinking one day I'm still working in New York. And I'm walking down 34th Street and I'm thinking to myself, and it's freezing. It's ice cold. It's 3 degrees outside. It's so cold. Or maybe it was like 15 or whatever. Doesn't matter. And I was freezing. And I was like, dude, I just want to create. I want to do my own thing. And I thought to myself, what if I just make Does It Really Matter as a joke? Straight up. As a joke. And we'll see where it goes, you know? Like I could do this as a side gig and just go with the flow. And the objective of Does It Really Matter at first was all pure like art based. It was like I'm going to create with the idea of not caring about what other people think and adding Does It Really Matter into the design structure. Does it really matter? Great. I don't care. Put paint here, put this there. I'm going to draw a stencil here and make this art, call this art, call that art. Didn't matter to me because I applied Does It Really Matter to everything. And then in one night, that same day that I said, you know what? Let's do it. I'm just going to do it as a joke. I went home until 2:30 in the morning. I still have the board. It's actually over there. It's I'll show it to you later. It's a full board that goes with me making the website and me making the domains and everything because I already had this entrepreneurial past where I would practice like dropshipping stores and whatnot, like trying to figure out what worked for me. And I did all this and I worked on it, and it got to a point where the mission of the brand collided. So it wasn't only art. I thought to myself, I can't do 2 brands. I got to do one. And the unknown, it's very hard to do. You're not trademarking that. You're not getting that username. There are so many different aspects that I was nervous about getting because the unknown is such a general term. And Derm was like made up. I was like, does it really matter? Okay, cool. Derm. Like that sounds cool. It's quick. It's in your head. You already know what it is. And I was like, all right, I'm going to combine Does It Really Matter and the unknown and make one mission together.